What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Campbell's Music Rig Review. Man, we've hit episode 50.
Whoa, wow, we're 50?
We're 50.
All right.
And it's hard to believe, it's just been a little over a year. We started this thing a while back, and 50 episodes in, it's crazy. But, this guy's been around a long time, and we're just now crossing paths personally, but y'all may recognize him, and Rick Morrell from the band Seppuku.
Yep.
Did I get it right?
Yep, you got it right.
But you'll probably recognize Rick from other old bands, the Mega Tribe. We're going to talk some shit about Scott Thomas tonight.
Punch of Judy. Yeah. What's funny is I first started playing music in 1987 right across the square. I think it's a Midtown Grill now. It was called the Highlander back then. And I had a fake ID just so I could get in to play. Everything started over there. So it's kind of wild. It's come full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You talk about playing music with all those guys and then kind of stepping away for a little bit and being the dad thing now.
Right.
Back into rock and roll again. So yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes once you get them grown and they go on and you end up doing different things, you do what comes naturally, and that was getting back into playing guitar. So
awesome.
That's what I did, and hooked up with Mikey, who you all be meeting here in a minute, our bass player, and we've been playing about 3-4 years now.
Awesome.
So check us out. You can check out our EP, Seppuku, on all the major streaming platforms. If you're familiar with any of my old bands, you'll be familiar with what this is. Yeah, I mean, it's energy, high energy. We cover all kinds of topics. There's definitely socio-political charge stuff, but then there's also stuff where we tell stories and all kinds of stuff like that.
Awesome.
So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I got back into playing. I had always been a PV guy. I had an OG 5150 block letter. I got it when I lived in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta from 90 to 96. I was in a straight edge hardcore band down there called Crisis Under Control, and that was a fun time. We toured a little bit, had a record out on an Italian record label, and played a million miles an hour. So I learned a lot. Learned a lot through that, and I picked up that 5150 down there. Ended up like an idiot getting rid of it whenever I decided it was time to stop and raise kids and stuff. Thinking, because I paid $400 for it and a 5150 matching cab for both of them, $400. Because back then it was like, ooh, PV stink. Leonard Skinner plays PV. You can't play metal on a PV. And it was.
Now it's the amp everybody wants.
Exactly. Yeah. That was funny because I had, and it's almost similar to this one. This is a JSX PV. They were the Joe Satriani signature models. That are modified triple X's.
Okay.
They're a little bit different in that they, instead of having a dampening switch on them for the bass, it's got a resonance control like the 5150s does. Other than that, and it's got 2 fat switches on each channel. It's 3 channels. You got a clean, and you got 2 you got the ultra, and then the rhythm. I like the ultra simply because it's like the 5150. You're right on the edge of it not being controlled.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
Yeah.
Plenty of gain on tap. I just kind of ran into it. I'm running that through an orange 412 PPC with vintage 30s in it. And this is a stock EC401. Well, not stock. I got it off a trade. I traded a Jackson Rhodes V in because I couldn't play it because my belly was too big and it hung like that. And I just traded it because I had 2 other guitars, 2 Schecters that were my mains. And as soon as I plugged this in, the guy had done a homemade 16-volt mod.
Yeah.
So it's got an extra battery up here in the electronics. This thing is nothing. This is the most aggressive sounding guitar I've ever had. Like I immediately plugged it in and just went. It's great.
Yeah.
And I'm running a Sonic Stomp BBE, a mini Sonic Maximizer in the loop to help kind of sculpt the low end on
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It just gives it a little bit more
Yeah.
to it.
I always describe with those pedals is you don't really notice it until you turn it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what somebody else said. It's kind of like salt and pepper.
Yeah.
There's really can't say what it does except it makes it better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of old school this way. I get all my tone through this.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't, I've got a pedal board here, a Boss ME80 multi effects. 4 effects. That's all it's for. It's
Yeah.
for like just little things here in songs to spice it up.
Yeah.
I've got a wah for some solo, when we do. Which that's an interesting subject. This is the first band I've ever really been the lead player in.
Yeah.
I've always been rhythm. Honestly, I don't think I'm that good of a lead player, but it just kind of got shoved upon me, and I've kind of improvised. So.
So you got that pedal set up as a wah pedal?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got that set up as a wah, and we've got one particular song that we wrote that's about a skater kid getting kidnapped by a UFO, and I use the ring modulator to make it sound like a computer. For all those old people who it sounds like you're getting online with America Online, and I use it at the end, kind of like the spaceship dropping him off, and then after that, I use this crazy delay setting on here. To kind of simulate the UFO
Just taking off.
taking off after they've kicked him out because he's annoyed them too much, because he's been pressing all the buttons and stuff like that. That just came out of me getting it, and those were the first things it was kind of set on, and I went, oh wow, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I really kind of dig. One of my influences is like older Steve Vai stuff, all flexible. I'm nowhere near as proficient, but I liked back then how he incorporated just noise into his playing, just little weird stuff, stuff like that.
No, I enjoy hearing stuff like that, and we talked a little bit earlier about one of my bandmates, Chris McCready. He does some weird stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just I enjoy it. It makes the rest of the band play different or think about things different too.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, it's all part of telling the story. You know what I mean? And that's definitely how I use it. Now I know a lot of people generate their entire tone from their pedal boards, and we've played with bands that they didn't have amps. This is all they had, and I remember thinking to myself, man, how are they doing that? Because if I can't feel, this thing moves your pants legs when you play. If I can't feel that, it just doesn't get me going. Yeah. Like the rumble of this is almost as important as the notes in the song.
For sure, yeah.
When you're chugging.
Yeah, we've had both on the show, like, people that run just modelers, people who are just tube amp guys or amp guys. And, I don't know if there's a right or wrong, but I'm like you. I like to have something, a little air hitting the back of me or, or whatever. And
to demonstrate. Just can't get that out of a modeler.
No, for sure.
If you're recording, but you just can't get the
live sound.
Yeah. And my sound is really dependent on my playing is really dependent on my sound. If I'm not happy with it, I'm not going to play to the fullest extent that I can play. Like if I was playing, a telly through a Fender Reverb, I'd be playing surf stuff, and then be rocking it out. But there's no way I would try to do this through that kind of setup.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a couple of other little things. Like I said, this one I've got set up for the wah. Just. you know, this my Kerry King imitation.
Yeah.
This stuff like that. Also, too, we've got one setting on here that I use for, and that's the only time I go to the clean channel on this. With the clean channel on these are real. I mean, clean channels on 5150s just weren't. I mean, you know, weren't really existent. But these are really pristine. I mean, they're really, really chimey in itself. And that's all through just that one clean. It shares its own EQ. It's got a little bit of noise gate on here, but it doesn't share any of the, any of the others, but the presence in that. But I've got this. It's kind of I don't know. Tony Iommi used this a lot when From Heaven and Hell into Mob Rules, and that's my Sabbath. I'm a Dio Sabbath guy, 1,000%. I mean, I like the Ozzy stuff, of course. That's like, who doesn't? I mean, if you play heavy music, that's foundation.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But those two albums in particular, Mob Rules, I love. But it's kind of a, it's almost kind of like that phaser sound out of some of the old country, you know, outlaw
like
stuff.
a Wayland sound almost.
Right, exactly. And I use that on a song that I wrote about the first Conan movie. I'm a huge Conan head, right, called Riddle of Steel. And I wanted it to sound, because in part of that movie, that story is set in kind of like Asia Minor type setting, around Turkey, edge of the Middle East. And so I kind of wanted that feel. As it cracks up.
Yeah.
But
I definitely got that feel to it.
That's what I like that too, and I like a lot of in leads and stuff. I'll try to incorporate some Middle Eastern kind of sound and stuff. I really like. I'm a huge Dick Dale fan.
Yeah.
And I love all of that exotic scales and stuff. I'm not that good at playing it, but that type of stuff, you know, it kind of influences it, and I do it, you know, to taste for the song and stuff like that.
I was reading a thing about Dick Dale, and I think he blew up a lot of amps.
Yeah, he did. He did. I remember when I lived in Atlanta, I got to go see him, and I was in his teeny tiny club called The Point, which you could fit probably 20 of that club in this building.
Yeah.
Right? Tiny place, and it was sold out, and I made sure I got right up front and was watching him, and his strings on his guitars were like, I mean, he had to get them from like an old Fender Bass 6 or something.
Oh,
they were like telephone wires, and I was just amazed at how at how, you know, how dexterous he was in playing this stuff with, you know, not only left-handed, upside down with
huge
like
strings.
80 gauge strings.
Yeah.
You know, it was absolutely amazing. But these things got pretty cool, like the other channel. It's very usable. It just doesn't have the. That's that
little extra.
That channel has just a little bit extra on it, and I run the main volume at about 3.
Yeah.
I run the channel volume at about 7.
Okay.
So that I can really kind of get the tubes
Cooking.
You know, cooking. And you know, trebles on about 7, mids on about 4, bass is on 7. I've got the resonance on 7, and the presence on 6. Presence is something a lot of people miss when they you know, talking about thrash and metal tones.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know, it's got to have that nice bite to the top end of it.
Yeah, you want that chunk, but you want that.
You got to have that top bite, and that's what one of the crazy. And I learned that, you know, reading about Tony Iommi and Brian May when they first started. To get their distortion, they used a treble booster pedal.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
We're talking about Brian May running Voxes, which is also
exactly.
already trebly anyhow.
Exactly, and they used that as their distortion pedal, which really blew me away.
Yeah.
And big influence, big influence, Scott Ian from Anthrax. I saw that he got his tone going through those 800s, and he was using a similar kind of. It wasn't a treble boost, but it was a. Oh gosh, can't think of the name of it. It was a New York company. It was black and yellow. They make Sans amps.
Okay. The Tech 21.
Yeah, that's it. It was a Tech 21 boost pedal, just a boost pedal.
Okay.
And that's how he got that. And so it really made me, not only focus on the low end, which you gotta have.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have, and I'm not going to be playing, because you can't play stuff like. Stuff like that just makes me want to go nuts. When I write songs, I try to come up with something that would, if I was in a club and I heard it, it would make me want to just tear the building down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even though I can't do that anymore. I get hurt. But that's one of the things I like about this. I was running an old Marshall cab, which sounded okay, but it couldn't handle the chugs coming through it. Like it was that you could actually hear it, completely farting out.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't tight enough. And that's why I started doing my research. And these cabinets are a lot, but man, this is a secret weapon right here.
Yeah.
These cabs, there's nothing that sounds like these cabs.
Yeah.
It improved my tone 100%.
And that one you said it got vintage 30s in it?
Yeah. It's got it comes with it, new vintage 30s.
Right.
It's not I know there's a big debate about which ones are better, the old ones, the new ones, this one's, the dust cap's different on something.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds good to me.
Yeah.
It's very dark, which is what I like. I like a dark sound. And starting from such a dark bass, it allows me to add enough treble, enough bite to it to where it's not really tinny.
Right.
And like all our stuff is like I said, it's, it goes, our songs kind of ranges, like I said, from talking about Conan to songs about witches to songs about, free thinking and freedom of speech and and
y'all like write cohesively, like with all together, or is it just somebody comes up with something?
I normally, because I'm always playing at the house with my little, probably got a little Vox practice amp, a little Valvetronics, but it sounds great. And I'm always coming up with riffs, and I'll send the guys, hey, got another one, another one. And I'll come in with a bunch of riffs and say, like, this is kind of here's the riffs, what do you guys want to do with them? And then as a band, that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Because I can sit here and chugga all day, and it doesn't breathe the life into it that when the guys get a hold of it, it turns into something special.
Yeah.
Chemistry is very underrated for bands.
Yeah.
If you don't have chemistry, to me, it's really, it's like eating food without salt.
Yeah.
It really is. Chemistry is so important, and that's where our songs come from. I'm kind of the protagonist of all of the music, but Mikey, the bass player, writes. He brings stuff in. Hal, the singer, he brings stuff in. Noah's brought stuff in. The drummer.
Yeah.
And it's all. I write a bulk of the stuff, but without those guys' input, it would not. If I just took what I wrote and recorded it myself and played everything, it would not sound like this band whatsoever. That's
a good thing about being together as long as y'all have, and that cohesiveness comes along with that, just being around each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I feel
man.
that for sure.
Because everybody it's about energy,
Yeah.
And it's so funny at practice, when we'll play the riff, and I'll be like, hey, here's the riff. And, everybody's like, oh, that sounds cool. And then everybody starts joining in, and then it's like, oh, yeah, you kind of start looking at each other. And then when you're playing it, and when you're, actually playing it without thinking about playing it, we're all like, I'm like, yeah, and drum, Noah's, yeah. And, we're in our, I mean, just us in our practice room, and we're just going like we're in Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's the magic of music for me.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it allows you to get your voice out. Like I said, we definitely run the spectrum as far as lyrics go. I'm a big fan of The Clash. So growing up in the 80s like I did, 70s and 80s, we're very influenced. So there's definitely some socio-political stuff in there. I'm a giant champion of freedom of speech, and a big proponent of our Constitution that protects us and keeps us free. Everybody has inalienable rights, and I do express that a lot.
Yeah.
that seems to be something I talk about, but to me it's important because everybody's got something to say. I don't care who they are, and they have the right to say it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you come to us, you'll hear us. We scream it. So
Yeah, and we'll throw a link up for your band and give them links to where they can find your music and everything. And yeah, I mean, like I said, we're glad you're here doing this thing with us, and we appreciate the hell out of you doing this.
Thank you guys for having us. I mean, we're going to try to, we've been together a while, but we're still relatively new as far as getting out and playing shows. So we definitely want to start playing a whole lot more. We've got there's 4 songs on the EP. We've got 3 other songs that we're playing live now, and then there's another 2 or 3 that we're getting ready to go record again. So
yeah.
We've definitely got a lot of stuff coming out. We've really got more material than sometimes we've got time to work on.
I feel that. Yeah.
Right. So this is just the tip of the iceberg with us. So it's seppuku, and it's
got a Facebook page and all
yeah,
that.
We do. Yeah. If you go to the Facebook page, it's got the link to all the music.
We'll throw that up.
There's some videos on there of us playing live at Capone's, which we certainly appreciate them having us and kind of letting us get our feet wet there. That's really, really cool. So thanks to everybody for that. And yeah, I mean that's us in in a little bit of a nutshell.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Mikey here in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to run down the bass player as well because bass player. In my opinion, I'm a bass player. Bass player is the most important person.
Oh, listen,
in the band.
this is integral. Mikey's sound and my sound. I mean, we purposefully kind of got gear and then got into our practice room and started matching. You know what I'm saying? To make sure, because I like a lot of bass.
Right.
I mean, the frequencies that I occupy, a lot of bass players occupy.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure we got it, and especially with just me as the one guitar player. We wanted to make it sound thick, so his gear was kind of designed around that, and we really make sure that we try to be cohesive in it and lock in. And I've always said I play guitar like a drummer.
Yeah.
I'm very, 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 very rhythmic, and so is Mikey. And so that's why it's just like a jackhammer. When we get going, it's just smashing, and it's the greatest thing ever.
Real quick, we talked about low end, but I noticed your drop tune too. What kind of tuning do you run?
We're in D standard and then drop. So I guess drop C.
Drop C.
I guess
okay.
it would be. So we experiment with other things in standard tuning, but man, that drop there's just. It's funny, my son, he just gravitated towards the drums. He's the starting, he's the first chair percussionist for Abingdon High School. He's senior this year. He's in state band too. Great. I mean, he just picked up picked up the musical gift from me. But I'm trying to teach him how to play guitar, and I said, listen, I play him just like the drums, so really it's just like you. So I'm showing him, and he's got little amps and stuff like that. And when I finally got this, I was like, come here. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I was like, and I was like, here, just do this, and I put this on him and turned it up.
Yeah.
And he just went. The power. It's just the power, exactly.
Yeah.
It was great. That's all he did for like 10 minutes straight. Was just go.
Yeah.
It was a funny moment, very funny moment.
Heck yeah, man. Like again, Rick, thanks for doing this. And
Oh, I love it. Thanks for having me, guys.
it's funny every time I do a lot of those interviews with Tom Netherland all the time. And every time
Yeah.
he interviews me, he's like, "But are y'all as loud as Rick?" And I'm like, "I doubt it. We're a country band, you know." But he brings that up to me every single time. Are you loud as Rick Morrell?
Right? Yeah. There's a joke at our in our practice room. We went through like probably 2, 3, maybe even a month's worth of practice, and we were working on backup vocals. And I noticed, and it worked out great. And then I noticed that I didn't even have a chord in the back of mine. So I'm very loud naturally, and I play guitar loud naturally. Like I said, man, if it's not shaking your guts, this is rock and roll, man. You gotta be right there. You gotta be right there on that edge. So yeah. Tom's a good dude. We've had a lot. He's helped us out a lot too, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We both happen to be Raiders fans. That's what kind of brought us together. And we met we were doing a benefit for my buddy Jeff Roberts, who was one of the other original members of Punch and Judy, who was unfortunately murdered 15 years ago in 2 days. And we just had the other original member. It was the 3 of us when we started it in 1987. Patrick Malone, he just passed away tragically. Had a heart attack. So I'd like to send this out to them in their memory, and still rocking. Still rocking. So they're here with us and with me, and
for sure.
I just want to send this out to them. And thanks again, guys. And please come see us and come jump around and have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And talk shit about Scott Thomas.
And talk shit about Scott Thomas. Oh, and like I said before, I got to take this little dig at Scott. Like he said, he couldn't play this kind of music with me anymore because he said he's too old to play that fast.
Hey, but he's a Raiders fan too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. He's been at my house watching me throw stuff at the TV for 30, 40 years now.
Heck yeah. Man, appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll get the bass player on.
Thanks, guys.
Sweet.